talk about the media, subsidies, for example. That's sort of because, again, everyone's attacks Donald Trump and they can legitimately attack him for always talking about fake news and delegitimizing journalists. My point in the article is that if you think about how the liberals did it, they were a lot more subversive in a way. They weren't as obvious how they did it. Trudeau gets in 2015, wonderful press, everyone loves him. He gets a minority government in 2019, sort of the honeymoon's over. And then, ironically enough, as the honeymoon's over, once he gets in 2019, he says, oh, there's a crisis in media. Let me give media some money. So he starts to subsidize the media. So we've always had a subsidized media. We've had the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, which gets over $1 billion a year in subsidies. And that's not enough. And so now they start to subsidize the private sector journalists. And now the private sector is becoming more and more dependent on the government. They aren't changing their business model. They are basically saying, we need this money. And so subconsciously or consciously, it makes it much more difficult for journalists in the media that receive that to criticize the government, to be really critically evaluating them. They're no longer independent. So that's sort of a really sneaky way of doing it.